16 hours later at the police precinct in Captain Jeff's office, Mark and his colleagues are, all meeting with Jeff to go over all the evidence they have gathered. "What have you all found?" Jeff asks. Jake replies, "Well, I've got a guy on the inside. He's been there for a while now, and he says that the big boss, Mickey, called all of the guys together for a big meeting today. He says he will find out what it is about and then let us know." Jeff replies, "Great. Anyone else got anything?" Jerome raises his hand and tells everyone that he has heard from a reliable source that one of the smaller gangs is getting ready for a big bank robbery this Friday. Everyone is impressed by this information. Jeff asks, "Does your guy have any idea which bank?" "No, I'm afraid not, but they are checking into that," Jerome replies. "Captain, also, from what I have heard, Mickey's wife and kids are back in town." Mark grabs Jerome's arm and looks at him intently. "Jerome, are you serious?" Jerome replies, "Yes. I thought you would like that info." He smiles at Mark. All the guys look at each other and smile. Jeff holds his hand up for everybody to be quiet. "Okay, guys, stay focused. We have a job to do. Dismissed." Everyone leaves Jeff's office. Outside, Mark stops Jerome. "Can I speak to you for a minute?" They walk over by the window to talk. Mark says, "Jerome, I was wondering if you can find something out for me." "Sure, let me guess. You want me to find out if Sonya is still with them?" Jerome asks. "Yes," he replies, feeling grateful. "That would be great." Jerome answers, "Well, Mark, I've been your friend since the academy. I'll do what I can to help you out." "Great, just call me as soon as you have something," says Mark. Jerome puts his hand on Mark's shoulder. "Sure. Can I ask you a question?" "Sure," Mark replies. "Why didn't you just ask Jake to find this information out for you?" he asks. "You know why I can't, since he did what he did to me." Mark wouldn't say it, but Jerome knew this was about Jake trying to steal his wife. I know. He was your wife's old boyfriend." Mark's tone betrays some annoyance. "Exactly. I don't want him causing trouble," he says, looking at Jerome as if to say, "If you press this issue any further, I'm going to kick your butt." So Jerome drops it and tells Mark that he will have his guys check into the information Mark wants about Sonya personally. Mark thanks him and Jerome gives him a warning. "I hope you are prepared for the fact that she could be unreachable." "Yeah, but—" Jerome interrupts him. "Yeah, but nothing. It has been too long and she is no longer a child." Mark replies, "I know, but I've got to try." Jerome heads to his desk, and Mark is preparing to do the same when Jeff pops his head out of his office and asks Mark to join him. Mark heads towards Jeff's office. He looks at Jerome before he goes inside. "Do you have any idea why he would want to see me?" Mark asks. Jerome shrugs and tells Mark, "Good luck." Mark enters Jeff's office and closes the door. "Jerome is right," Jeff says. "It has been a long time. Are you prepared for the fact that she may be unreachable?" Mark looks at Jeff, surprised. "How did you know what we were talking about?" Jeff responds, "Well, I can read lips. Plus you were talking next to the vent outside my office, so I could hear every word you guys were saying." Jeff then gets the conversation back on track and asks Mark to answer the question. Mark tells Jeff that he is prepared for that, but he hopes it doesn't go in that direction. Jeff nods. "Good to hear that you're ready. I just don't need you flaking out on us. This mission is way too important and dangerous." "I understand, sir," Mark says before he gets up to leave. "One more thing we need to talk about," Jeff says. Mark sits back down. "We need to talk about Jake." "Why?" "That is over with." "Apparently not. Like I just told you, I could hear you and Jerome talking. So why don't you tell me everything?" Mark says, "I don't understand what you means." Jeff replies, "Mark, stop playing. I just told you that I was able to hear you and Jerome talking. Now tell me everything." "It's too embarrassing," Mark says. Jeff replies, "Look, Mark, if you are having a problem with this guy, I need to know. The reason is, if you cannot even talk to Jake about this, then it is a problem. You know we're on a life-or-death mission." "Yeah, but—" Jeff interrupts. "Yeah, but nothing. Cops need to be able to trust each other. We need to know that our partners will have our backs." "I know," Mark says. "Yes, Mark, you do know, but you still don't trust Jake, so not only are you putting your life at risk, but you're putting everyone else's life at risk too." Mark doesn't respond to Jeff's comments. Jeff continues, "Mark, I can't let you be silent about this. These other cops' lives are in my hands. So out with it." Mark tells Jeff how his wife liked to date cops and had dated guys from this precinct. Jeff looks at Mark, puzzled. Jeff says something aloud, not really talking to Mark, but more to himself. "How did I not see this? Where was I at?" "Sir," Mark says, snapping Jeff to attention. Mark continues on, "The problem is that Jake tried to steal her from me on our wedding day." "I see," Jeff says, looking shocked. "So you can see why I don't trust him." Jeff takes a deep breath before responding. "Yes, I can, but Mark, you have to remember that you won. She chose you, not him." "I know, but—" Jeff interrupts him again. "But nothing. It is very clear. Get over it and move on. As long as you are not hiding anything from your wife, your marriage will be safe." Mark nods, but his face betrays the fact that he does not fully believe it. Jeff tells him, "Look, I can see that this is going to be hard for you. If you would like some reassurances, just ask Cindy. She can tell you he has moved on. You know they are dating now." Mark replies, "Thanks, sir. I needed that." Jeff smiles. "You're welcome. Now get out of my office." Mark laughs and leaves to go back to his desk. A fit 24-year-old black female with long black hair walks toward Mickey's office. She is dressed in a sleeveless and backless shirt and form-fitting jeans. She has a big S-shaped, zipper-like scar running down her back that shows through the back of the shirt. The woman opens the door to Mickey's office and goes in. She greets Mickey, and he looks at her and smiles. "Ah, Sonya. So glad you could come," he says. "Hi, Dad. The boys have just informed me of what is going on. Do you want me to pick the group that is going to rob the bank?" Mickey responds gruffly, "No." "I will handle that. I want you to help oversee the drug shipment. You are my eyes and ears. Sonya, you know you are the only one I can trust to give me the true report about what is happening." Mickey turns and looks out the window. "I don't know if this plan is going to work, but it will answer a few questions I have." Sonya looks at Mickey with a confused expression. "Questions? What questions?" Mickey turns back to her and smiles, with a sinister look in his eyes. "You will see soon enough." Sonya looks at Mickey curiously, but she knows that she dare not press him for the answer. He gets up out of his seat and tells Sonya they had better get going, as they are meeting the rest of the family for lunch. Sonya agrees and they leave the office. Later on that night at Mark's house, Debbie has just arrived home from work at the hospital, where she is a nurse. She looks at the clock in her car. It says 6 o'clock. Debbie sees Mark's car is already in the driveway. She smiles, gets out of the car, and walks into the house. Debbie can see that dinner has been made and is sitting on the table waiting for her. She walks into the kitchen and sees Mark finishing cooking dessert. "What is this?" she asks. "Dinner," Mark replies. "I know, but usually you don't make dinner," she says. Mark smiles and touches her face gently. "I know. I just thought that, since I'm going to be going on a dangerous mission soon, it would be a good night to talk about our future plans that you have been trying to get me to talk about for the last month. I thought it would only be right that I make dinner for you this time, to show you that what you say does matter to me." They look at each other lovingly for a moment. "All right then. I'll go and take a quick shower and come right back," Debbie says. Mark nods and she heads toward the bathroom upstairs. A few minutes later, Mark pops his head into the shower. "I figured I would join you," he says. Debbie smiles at him. He gets undressed and joins her in the shower. They start kissing, but then Debbie stops Mark. "Wait, what about dinner?" Mark caresses her face and replies, "Well, I figure we could start with dessert first because that's the best part of the meal anyway." They start kissing again and move from the shower to the bedroom, where they move to the bed and make love. After they have finished having sex, they are lying in bed, cuddling. Debbie looks at Mark. "So, I guess now is a good time as any to talk about our future plans," she says. Mark looks confused. Are you sure you want to do this right now? At this moment? What do you mean, at this moment? Debbie looks at Mark like she doesn't understand his meaning. Mark sighs and says, well, I thought maybe we should talk about this later. You know, when you're able to concentrate better. I mean, after all, you need a little time to bask in the moment. In the moment? She says. Mark replies, yeah, in the moment of you getting the chance to make sweet love to me. Debbie looks at Mark incredulously. See, you always do that. Whenever I want to talk about something serious, you turn it into something silly. Mark frowns at her and Debbie gives him a cold look. Mark sighs. Okay. Yes, I want children too, just not right now. Why not? She asks. Mark takes her hand. Well, right now I'm working on a pretty serious case and I need to give it my full attention. He smiles at her. So after it is all over, I will take some time off and we can make love like rabbits and have a dozen kids. Debbie laughs. I love you, she says. I love you too. They start kissing passionately, but then Mark's cell phone rings. He sighs. You know, you could ignore it, Debbie says. I'd love to, but this could be important information about the case. I've got to take this, sorry, babe. Debbie looks at him, disappointed. Mark picks up his cell phone. Hello? Jerome is on the other end of the line. Hey, Mark, I hope I'm not disturbing you, am I? Mark looks over at Debbie and smiles. Dude, you have really bad timing. Jerome laughs and apologizes for the interruption. He goes on to say that he's got some information about Sonya. Mark gets out of bed, excited. Are you serious? What is it? According to my sources, she's in town and she's okay. It appears as if he hasn't done anything bad to her, Jerome replies. Thank God. I just hope that when this all goes down, we can get her away from him somehow, Mark says. Me too. I know how much you want that, Jerome replies. Thanks. Talk to you later, Mark says. Okay, I'll keep you up to date. Later, man, Jerome replies. Mark puts his cell phone on the nightstand next to the bed and lies back down, smiling. Debbie says, I take it all is well with Sonya? Yes, so hopefully when this is all done, she can come here and live with us. Debbie stares at him, her jaw loose. Mark frowns at her. What? He asks. Does she really have to live here? I mean, you don't really know her, Debbie replies. But she's going to need a safe place to stay. Mark, I know that you always try to save everybody, but are you sure that it would be wise to let her stay here? I mean, what if you haven't taken down this Mickey guy? Wouldn't you be putting our lives in danger by bringing her here? You couldn't really protect her here. You're right. I mean, I wasn't even thinking clearly. I just wanted to save her, he says. How about that old cabin we have? She could stay there. What do you think? Debbie nods. Sounds good. And then maybe your nightmares will stop. Yes, it will be good to sleep through the night, he says. Mark tells Debbie that he loves her. Debbie responds, I love you too, honey. They kiss, and then they get out of bed and go downstairs to eat dinner. Early the next morning, Mickey is in the conference room with his men. Okay, guys, I have thought about this a lot, and here is how it's going to go down. The best time to hit the bank is first thing in the morning when it opens at 9 a.m. Any questions? Bullseye responds, yeah, I have one. What about the shipment? What time will it arrive? Mickey looks annoyed that Bullseye has asked a question, but then he seems to relax, as the question is a good one. It will arrive at 8:30 at the train station. Please make sure our guys are on time to pick it up. Any other questions? Crazy, Money, Informer, Cleaner, Crazy's older brother, Killer, Bonebreaker, Kiss Up, Bullseye, and Sonya all shake their heads. No. Mickey looks pleased. I am the police conference room that same morning. Jeff is going over all of the last minute. Details. Jeff is pointing at the board and circling things, dividing them into groups. All right, guys, listen up. Here is the plan. From the information that was given to us by our inside guys, we know they will probably hit first thing in the morning, says Jeff. Wait a minute, what if they decide to rob a lot sooner? Tim asks. Don't worry. Our people on the inside will let us know, Jeff answers. He looks around at everyone. They are all whispering and talking among themselves. All right, everyone. I need you to be in tip-top shape for Friday, so don't go out and do anything stupid. Our inside guys are keeping an eye on things. I need to see the following people: Mark, Jake, Jerome, and Tim. The rest of you guys are dismissed. Tim, Jerome, Jake, and Mark wait until everyone leaves. Okay, guys, with all the information that was given, we have another situation on our hands here, says Jeff. What is it? Tim asks. Well, according to Jake's and Jerome's sources, they're planning on receiving a shipment of cocaine on Friday morning at 8:30, basically 30 minutes before the bank is hit. We need to have 2 teams ready to counteract this. I also got word through the grapevine that we might have a spy in our midst. Jake and Jerome, I need you to check this out. Jake answers, Yes, sir, we will. Tim and Mark, please keep your ears open in case you hear something around the station. We will, Mark says. Do you suspect anyone in particular? Number. That's why I need you guys to keep this information between us, okay? Mark, Jake, Jerome, and Tim all nod in agreement and leave Jeff's office. Back at Mickey's office building, Sonya is walking down the hallway to go and meet with her team. Crazy grabs her arm and pushes her against the wall. Crazy is breathing very heavily on Sonya as he tells her, I've missed you. I don't see how you could, considering we broke up, she replies. Oh? When did that happen? You know darn well when that happened, she responds. Crazy gives a little evil, sexy kind of laugh. Oh yes, that's right, last month. Well, I'm so sorry about that. I had some business to do that might have put you in danger, and I couldn't take that risk. Sonya is unimpressed. Wow. Crazy. Your lies get more elaborate every time I talk to you. Crazy's demeanor changes, and he becomes serious. I'm not joking, Sonya. I really was checking on something that could have put your life in danger. Don't worry, though, you will know what it was soon enough, he says. Sonya's eyes soften a bit. Well, fine then. But I have to go. My men and I have to go over the plans on how we can get this small group of robbers to pull off this job without getting caught in the first 3 minutes. She moves to continue down the hall, but Crazy grabs her arm and pulls her back. Wait, he says. Before you go, just one little kiss. Sonya looks around and says, All right, just one. Crazy pulls Sonya in close and they kiss. He tells Sonya it's nice and that he'd like another, but Sonya says she can't. She's got to go. Crazy acts like he has given up, but as Sonya starts to leave, he pulls her back and pushes her up against the wall, breathing heavily against her again. Call me by my real name, he says. Sonya looks at him and speaks to him in a sexy voice. James, she says. They begin kissing again, moving from the hallway to an empty office. Crazy and Sonya are still kissing as they enter the room and begin to rip each other's clothes off. They proceed to have sex in the office on the floor. 20 minutes later, Sonya shows up at her meeting with her clothing looking out of place. Her team members look at her and then at each other, as if to say, okay. Sonya sits down and tells her men, I know that this is just supposed to be a diversion, but I don't see why we can't make a little profit out of this. She looks around at her team with a, we can do this, look on her face. The men don't want to go against Mickey's wishes, but they know he won't be that upset if they pull this off. Besides, it would elevate their status. The men are just about to answer Sonya when Mickey enters the room. No, he says. I don't want you guys anywhere near that hot zone. We're sending in the worst group, the scuttlebutts. We don't need any money, we just need them to be captured. You guys just need to keep an eye on them from a distance. Sonya looks upset, but she knows there is no point in trying to argue with him because in the end he will win. She merely replies, fine. We will stand by. Mickey has an evil look on his face while he is talking to them. All right, see you after the plans are complete. He gives Sonya a dirty look and leaves. She waits until Mickey leaves before speaking to her men. You heard him. No helping. But I do know one thing. If we were to walk out of this with a big profit, he would get over it. So let's do what we can to help out this group. Money, who is sitting in on this meeting, says, but what about what Mickey said? Also, I don't like that look he had on his face. Yeah, I know, Sonya says. You guys get a blueprint of the bank over to the scuttlebutts. I'll take care of everything, Money says. She pulls him aside and thanks him for going along with her. He assures her he has her back no matter what. Money leaves, and Sonya continues to talk to her men. That evening, Mark and Debbie are in bed together cuddling. So, Debbie says, are you ready for tomorrow, honey? Yeah, I'm feeling a little nervous, but I know we are going to pull this off tomorrow. Debbie kisses him. I know if anyone can pull this off, you can. Mark holds her closer. Thanks, honey. I needed to hear that. Friday morning at 3 o'clock, the alarm clock rings. Mark gets up and goes into the bathroom. He feels nervous and excited at the same time, knowing today is the day he gets Sonya back. After Mark showers, gets dressed, and brushes his teeth, he heads downstairs to the kitchen. Debbie hands him a cup of coffee. Good luck, honey, she says. Thanks, honey. I can't wait to see you tonight when this is all over with. They kiss, and Mark leaves. At the police station, a lot of officers have arrived. All the cops that are going to be involved in the takedown today head to the conference room for a meeting. Jeff is standing up front. All right, you guys, you all know the plan. We need to stay on our toes to make sure this goes off without a hitch. All the cops respond, yes, sir. Jeff tells everyone to be careful and then dismisses them. They all go and get ready to leave. At the same time, the Scuttlebutts gang is meeting in a small, abandoned warehouse. Jack is talking with his gang that looks like a bunch of rejects who were let in out of pity. All right, gang, this is it. Our chance to prove to Mickey that we're not losers. If we do this right, maybe we can make him stop calling us Scuttlebutts. Now let's head out, their leader, Jack, says. His men cheer, and they get up to leave. At Mickey's office building, Sonya is talking to her men as they are getting armed. Okay, men, let's go, she says. They leave, and Bullseye and Kiss Up and their men all leave too. Crazy leaves with his armed men. Killer is walking side by side with Crazy when he says, Crazy, I don't understand why Mickey didn't tell everyone about the truck shipment. Because he suspects we have a rat and he would like to lure it out with some cheese. I see, Killer replies. Everybody is finally situated, the police and the bad guys. Bullseye is at the train station, Crazy is at the skyscraper, Sonya is in an apartment across from the bank, and Kiss Up is at the truck rendezvous point. At 8:30 in the morning, the train arrives right on schedule. The workers at the train station unload the shipment and put it in a warehouse for pickup from different companies. Bullseye and his men are waiting for the workers at the train station to finish storing everything, and then leave, so that they can go in and get the shipment without trouble. Meanwhile, at exactly 9 o'clock, the Scuttlebutts run inside the bank to rob it. Back at the train station warehouse, Bullseye and his men take the shipment from the warehouse and load it onto trucks. At the same time, Kiss Up and his men watch to see what truck their shipment is being switched to, so they can make sure that the truck ends up at the rendezvous point, where the rest of Kiss Up's guys are waiting. Back at the bank, the Scuttlebutts are standing inside the bank with their guns drawn. Everyone inside is frozen with fear. All right, this is a stick-up. Everyone down on the ground, Jack yells. He points his gun at the teller, hands her a bag, and instructs her to fill it. The teller nods and begins filling up the bag with money. After she is done, they lock all the bank tellers in one vault and all of the customers in another vault. The Scuttlebutts begin to make their escape through the bank's back door.